There comes a moment in life when you realize that your peace is far more precious than someone's approval. A moment when you understand that not everyone deserves access to your mind, your emotions, or your energy. And from that moment on, everything changes. Because the most powerful defense you will ever build is the one that protects your inner world. In this life, the greatest battles rarely happen in the outside world. Most of them unfold silently inside you, between the voice that wants to grow and the voices that try to pull you back into noise, drama, and emotional chaos. Not everyone you meet will walk with wisdom. Some carry storms within them, and they look for a place to unload that storm. Some carry unresolved pain, and they search for someone to bleed on. Some fear their own emptiness, and they drain the energy of those around them just to feel alive for a moment. Your peace is not the absence of noise, it is the presence of clarity, inner strength, and boundaries. Your peace is the garden where your future grows. And anyone who threatens that peace, consciously or unconsciously, must be met with the discipline of self-protection and the compassion of self-respect. This is not about becoming cold, this is about becoming conscious, knowing what belongs in your life and what deserves to be released. Today, let us explore how to guard your inner peace with firmness, gentleness, and wisdom, because your destiny depends on the energy you allow to stay. 1 point, recognize energy before you recognize words. Long before a person speaks, long before their intentions become clear, there is always something else that arrives first, their energy. Words can be shaped, polished, and practiced. They can be crafted to impress, to manipulate, or to hide what a person truly carries inside. But energy is honest. It cannot pretend, it cannot disguise itself. It enters the space before any sentence ever forms, and it tells a story far more accurate than the mouth ever will. We are taught from a young age to listen with our ears, but rarely are we taught to listen with our intuition. The body feels what the mind often overlooks. You can sense tightening in the chest, uneasiness in the gut, or a subtle discomfort that appears without logical explanation. These sensations are not random. They are your inner guardians whispering, warning, guiding. Every human being radiates a field of emotional vibration. Some people carry warmth, calmness, and grounded presence. When they enter the room, your spirit settles. Others carry tension, chaos, or unresolved wounds, and when they come near, your energy instinctively contracts. This contraction is not judgment, it is wisdom. It is your inner world recognizing that something is misaligned. Do not underestimate this. Many of the wounds people carry today were not caused by what toxic individuals said, but by what they brought. Their tone, their intention, their tension, their jealousy, their anger unspoken but deeply felt, all of it arrives as energy long before any conversation begins. When you learn to recognize this energy, you begin to see that peace is not only protected through boundaries, but through awareness. A person can say they wish you well, yet their energy may feel heavy, competitive, or draining. A person can speak softly, yet carry an undercurrent of agitation or bitterness. If you train yourself to sense energy, you will no longer be deceived by polite words that mask harmful intentions. This awareness is not about becoming suspicious of everyone, it is about strengthening your sensitivity. Sensitivity is not weakness, sensitivity is perception. It is the ability to see beyond appearances, to understand what others cannot articulate, and to move through the world with deeper discernment. When someone's energy repeatedly leaves you exhausted, confused, anxious, or diminished, take it seriously. Your peace is responding before your mind has found the explanation. Trust that. Your inner world is always attempting to protect you. And in the same way, recognize energy within yourself as well. How do you feel after being around certain people? Lighter or heavier? Stronger or smaller? Calm or unstable? These answers reveal more truth than any conversation could. To defend your inner peace, begin with this simple yet profound discipline. Feel first, interpret later. Listen to the space between words. Sense the atmosphere someone brings. Energy speaks the language of truth, a language that cannot be manipulated, cannot be edited, and cannot be disguised. When you can recognize this, you will never again be misled by appearances. Your intuition becomes your shield, your clarity becomes your compass, and your inner peace becomes your highest priority. Number 2, protect your emotional oxygen. First, there is a timeless lesson found in the simplest of places, an airplane safety instruction. They tell you, put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. At first, it seems selfish, but in truth, it is the foundation of survival. Because you cannot support another human being if you are losing air yourself. This principle is not limited to cabins in the sky. It is the same truth that governs emotional well-being, spiritual balance, and the quiet strength of your inner life. There are people in this world who live in a constant state of emotional turbulence, carrying storms of fear, insecurity, anger, or dependence. And if you do not protect your emotional oxygen, their storms can quietly become your atmosphere. To guard your peace, you must understand this. Your emotional energy is not infinite. It needs renewal, it needs rest, it needs care, and it needs boundaries. Many people exhaust themselves not because they give too much, but because they give without breathing. They give from a place of emptiness, hoping that their sacrifice will create harmony, validation, or connection. But giving from depletion is not generosity, it is self-abandonment. You must learn to recognize the moments when your inner air becomes thin, when conversations leave you breathless instead of nourished, when someone's presence feels like weight instead of warmth, when your emotions tighten, your mind becomes foggy, and you lose your grounding. These are signals that your oxygen is dropping. Protecting your emotional oxygen means choosing yourself before the world chooses you. It means allowing yourself to step back without guilt, to rest without explanation, and to preserve your inner clarity even when others demand your immediate attention. This is not about closing your heart. It is about strengthening your foundation. A tree with strong roots can offer shade to many, but a tree that is dying cannot shelter anyone. In relationships, friendships, family bonds, or daily interactions, someone may ask for your empathy, your time, your energy, your emotional labor, and you may want to help truly. But intention is not enough. You can only offer genuine guidance when your inner state is balanced and clear. If you stretch yourself beyond your limits to rescue others from their emotional struggles, you will slowly drown in the very waters you try to lift them from. But when you breathe first deeply, consciously, you rise. And when you rise, you can guide others from a place of strength instead of sacrifice. Protecting your emotional oxygen also means saying no with serenity, ending emotional overextension, and creating distance where your spirit repeatedly collapses. It means giving yourself permission to recover your center before you respond, advise, or support. Remember this truth: you cannot pour healing into someone else while you are bleeding inside yourself. Your peace, your clarity, and your inner air are not luxuries, they are necessities. When you protect your emotional oxygen, you protect your life. And from that place of breath and balance, everything you give becomes purer, deeper, and more powerful. Number 3, silent distance is more powerful than loud argument. There is a moment in life when you understand that not every battle deserves your presence, and not every conflict requires your voice. Some situations transform not when you speak more, but when you step back. Some people understand your worth not when you argue louder, but when you become silent. Silence is not weakness. Distance is not avoidance. When used with wisdom, they become your greatest shields. Many arguments are not born from the desire for truth. They rise from the ego's hunger to dominate, to be right, to win. When someone is attached to misunderstanding you, no amount of explanation can change their perception. When someone thrives on chaos, your calmness threatens them. When someone is rooted in insecurity, your clarity exposes them. That is why walking away is often more powerful than staying to prove a point. Silent distance is the language of the self-respecting. It is the decision to protect your peace instead of participating in a battle that drains your spirit. It is the understanding that your energy is sacred, and anything that repeatedly disrupts your inner stability does not deserve unlimited access to you. Arguments demand your presence. Distance demands your courage. And silence demands your discipline. When you choose silence, You remove the oxygen that fuels unnecessary fires. When you choose distance, you create space for truth to surface without force. When you withdraw your energy, the imbalance becomes visible and the dynamic begins to shift. Some people only understand your value when your absence becomes louder than your words ever were. They feel the vacuum created when your energy, attention, and emotional participation are removed. And in that space, they must face themselves, not you. Silent distance is also a form of clarity. Without your emotional involvement, you can finally see situations and people from the outside. You gain perspective, you regain strength, you reconnect with yourself instead of losing yourself inside conflicts that lead nowhere. This practice does not mean suppressing your truth or avoiding important conversations. It means choosing when and how you speak. It means refusing to argue with those who are committed to misunderstanding you. It means conserving your voice for places where it will be honored, not twisted. There is a deep wisdom in stepping away. When you do not react, you teach your mind stillness. When you do not chase closure, you learn trust in yourself. When you do not engage in chaos, you cultivate inner peace. And in silence, something powerful happens. You begin to hear your own spirit again. The noise of conflict fades, and the voice of your intuition grows clearer. Silent distance is not about punishing others. It is about protecting yourself. It is not revenge. It is self-preservation. It is not retreat. It is elevation. When you master this art, you will move through life with less friction and more freedom. You will no longer waste energy on what drains you. You will no longer defend yourself in places where understanding is impossible. You will choose peace over victory, growth over ego, and clarity over chaos. And that in the journey of protecting your inner world is true power. Number 4. Not responding is a powerful response. There are moments when silence holds more strength than 1,000 perfectly crafted sentences. Moments when choosing not to react becomes the loudest declaration of your self-control, your clarity, and your emotional maturity. In a world where everyone rushes to defend, explain, argue, or retaliate, the ability to stay still becomes a profound form of power. Not responding does not mean you are weak. It means you no longer allow others to dictate the rhythm of your emotions. It means you have grown beyond the need to participate in every battle presented to you. Most people react out of habit, not awareness. A message triggers them, and they respond instantly. An insult comes their way, and they defend immediately. A misunderstanding arises, and they rush to justify themselves. But reaction is the playground of the ego. When you react impulsively, you hand your peace to the very person who disturbed it. You enter their emotional field where they control the rules, and you lose your balance. Not responding breaks this pattern. It allows you to rise above the noise rather than drown in it. It gives your mind the space to breathe, observe, and choose. It gives your emotions time to settle so your wisdom can speak. When someone tries to provoke you, they are expecting your reaction. When someone tries to manipulate you, they are relying on your emotional participation. When someone complains, criticizes, or throws negativity toward you, they want an energy exchange. Not responding denies them that satisfaction. It starves the toxic pattern. It dissolves the conflict before it grows roots. It protects you from unnecessary entanglements that drain your spirit. Silence is not emptiness, it is awareness. It is the decision to say, I choose myself, my peace, and my clarity over this moment of chaos. There will always be people who misunderstand your silence. Let them. Your life does not need to be spent correcting every wrong interpretation of who you are. The people meant for you will understand your intentions without needing explanations. The people not meant for you will misunderstand even your explanations. So why waste your inner stillness chasing outer approval? Not responding is also an act of emotional mastery. It proves that your center is strong enough not to be shaken by every wind. It shows that you control your reactions instead of being controlled by them. This inner discipline transforms your relationships, your decisions, and your overall peace. When you stop answering negativity, negativity has no place to grow. When you stop feeding drama with your attention, drama starves. When you stop giving energy to people who drain you, your soul begins to rise. Not responding is not about ignoring life. It is about choosing which parts of life deserve your energy. You are not obligated to respond to disrespect, immaturity, emotional traps, or provocations designed to pull you out of alignment. Your silence is your shield. Your non-reaction is your elevation. Your stillness is your strength. When you learn this, you no longer fight every battle. You conserve your power for the moments that truly matter. Number 5. Choose clarity over chaos. There is a quiet truth that reveals itself as you grow. Life is not destroyed by big storms alone. Most of the time, it is slowly drained by small, continuous chaos. The subtle confusion in certain relationships, the unpredictable behavior of people who never take responsibility, the emotional noise of those who live in drama and invite you to live there with them. Clarity is not simply knowing what you want, it is knowing what you will no longer accept. Chaos has a way of disguising itself. It can appear as excitement, emotional intensity, or sudden closeness. It can hide behind passionate arguments, unpredictable friendships, or constantly shifting expectations. But if you look closely, you will see the pattern. Chaos always pulls you away from your center, while clarity always brings you back to yourself. Choosing clarity means choosing the path where your mind can breathe. It means surrounding yourself with people whose intentions are consistent, whose words match their actions, and whose presence does not require you to constantly decode hidden messages. Chaos drains your energy. Clarity restores it. Chaos keeps you guessing. Clarity allows you to move with purpose. Chaos feeds anxiety. Clarity feeds inner strength. When you choose clarity, you stop entertaining relationships built on emotional unpredictability. You stop accepting half-truths, mixed signals, and people who leave you mentally exhausted. You stop confusing intensity with connection or inconsistency with passion. Many people stay in chaotic environments because they are used to the noise. Silence feels uncomfortable. Stability feels unfamiliar. But what feels unfamiliar is often what you truly need. Clarity requires courage, the courage to see things as they are, not as you hope they will be. It requires honesty with yourself. Is this helping me grow? Is this draining me or strengthening me? Is this relationship aligned with my peace? Does this person add clarity to my mind or chaos to my heart? When you begin asking these questions, life starts to become simpler. Not because the world changes, but because you do. Your standards shift, your expectations become sharper, your boundaries become natural instead of forced. Clarity also means choosing transparency with yourself. It means acknowledging your own patterns, the ways you sometimes tolerate chaos because you fear loneliness, confrontation, or change. It means stepping out of emotional habits that no longer serve your evolution. Remember this: chaos is addictive, but clarity is healing. Chaos entertains the mind, but clarity elevates the soul. Chaos may feel alive, but clarity feels peaceful. Peace is not found in noise, it is found in alignment. When you choose clarity, your life becomes lighter. You stop carrying unresolved conversations, emotional burdens, and relationships that twist you into versions of yourself that you no longer recognize. Chaos asks you to survive. Clarity invites you to grow. And when you consistently choose clarity over chaos, you silently command life to rise to a higher level, where peace is not something you chase, but something you naturally attract. Number 6. Don't allow emotional manipulation to redefine your worth. There will come moments in your life when someone tries to reshape the way you see yourself, not through truth, but through subtle emotional pressure. Manipulation does not always arrive with loud words or clear threats. Often, it comes quietly, softly, wrapped in guilt, wrapped in obligation, wrapped in the illusion of care. And if you are not conscious, it can slowly erode your sense of worth. Emotional manipulation works by pulling you out of your center, by making you doubt your choices, by making you question your intentions, by making you blame yourself for someone else's imbalance. It is the quiet art of twisting your kindness into weakness, your empathy into responsibility, your silence into guilt. But you must understand this deeply. Your worth is not a mirror for someone else's insecurity. Your value does not change because someone misunderstands you, misuses your compassion, or misrepresents your character. Manipulators use emotions as tools. They play with guilt when you set boundaries. They use silence as punishment when you do not obey their expectations. They exaggerate your flaws and minimize your strengths. They praise you when you conform and withdraw affection when you choose yourself. But their behavior is not a reflection of who you are. It is a reflection of what they have failed to heal within themselves. When you allow emotional manipulation to define you, you hand over the keys to your inner world. You give someone else the power to decide when you feel worthy and when you feel ashamed. You allow their instability to rewrite your identity. But when you reclaim your awareness, everything changes. Awareness allows you to see the tactics without absorbing the poison. Awareness reminds you that guilt is not love, that pressure is not care, that fear is not respect. You were not born to shrink so that others feel comfortable. You were not created to bend so that someone else feels in control. You were not meant to carry emotional burdens that do not belong to you. To protect your peace, you must learn to separate someone's emotional chaos from your own self-perception. Ask yourself, does this criticism come from clarity or from their unresolved pain? Does this guilt come from truth or from their fear of losing control? Does this pressure arise because I am wrong or because I am finally choosing myself? You cannot stop people from attempting to manipulate you, but you can stop giving them the power to succeed. The moment you understand your worth, manipulation loses its grip. The moment you honor your boundaries, guilt loses its influence. The moment you choose truth over emotional pressure, you return to your center. Stand firm in who you are. Stand rooted in your values. Stand steady in your clarity. Your worth is not negotiable. Your worth is not conditional. Your worth is not something that can be increased by praise or decreased by emotional silence. When you hold your worth with both hands gently, firmly, confidently, no manipulation can bend you. And no one can redefine what you have already claimed as sacred. Number 7. Boundaries are acts of self-honoring. There comes a time in every person's life when they must decide whether they will continue abandoning themselves or begin honoring themselves. And the line between these two paths is drawn with one powerful tool: boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are not punishments. They are not rejections. Boundaries are the quiet, sacred lines that protect your peace, your values, your energy, and your inner truth. They are acts of self-respect expressed through action. They are declarations that say, I choose not to betray myself for the comfort of others. For many people, boundaries feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you have spent years being the peacemaker, the giver, the one who bends so others do not break. But growth requires discomfort, and boundaries are part of that growth. You must understand that every time you deny your own needs to satisfy someone else, a part of you becomes silent. A part of you dims. A part of you feels unseen, unheard, unprotected. Over time, this lack of self-honoring becomes exhaustion, resentment, and emotional depletion. Boundaries are the remedy. They are the medicine that keeps your spirit from collapsing under the weight of other people's demands. To set a boundary is to tell the world, my well-being matters. My time matters. My mental space matters. My heart is not an open field for anyone to walk through. Boundaries are not created out of anger, but out of clarity. They are not born from bitterness, but from wisdom. They are not the closing of your heart. They are the strengthening of your inner foundation. When you set boundaries, people will react. Not because you are wrong, but because your new clarity disrupts the comfort of their old expectations. Some will respect it. Some will resist it. Some will test it. And some will leave because they were only connected to the version of you that allowed their behavior. But this is not loss. This is alignment. Boundaries remove what is not meant for your next chapter. There is a profound strength in being able to say no without guilt, a deeper strength in saying this is enough with calmness, an even greater strength in walking away from what consistently harms your peace. Boundaries are not for changing others. They are for protecting yourself. They are the filter that separates nourishing connections from draining ones. They are the shield that guards your inner world from manipulation, disrespect, and emotional overreach. When you honor your boundaries, you honor your spirit. You stop seeking approval and start seeking alignment. You stop explaining yourself and start expressing yourself. You stop living from a place of fear and start living from a place of truth. And something beautiful happens. You begin attracting people who respect your limits, who value your presence, who understand your worth without needing to be convinced. Boundaries are not the end of connection. They are the beginning of healthier, clearer, and more authentic relationships. They are the doorway to a life where your peace is protected, your energy is preserved, and your soul no longer has to compromise its dignity to exist. This is self-honoring. This is self-respect. This is the foundation of inner peace. Number 8. Release the idea that you must fix people. There is a gentle sorrow that lives in the hearts of those who care deeply. The belief that it is your responsibility to heal others, to repair their wounds, to carry their emotional weight, or to guide them out of their darkness. This belief is noble in intention, but heavy in consequence. You must understand this truth with clarity and compassion. You are not here to fix people. You are here to walk your path with integrity and light. Everyone carries a journey that belongs uniquely to them. Their wounds, their patterns, their lessons, their awakenings, all of these are part of the curriculum their soul must experience. When you try to fix someone, you unintentionally step into a place that does not belong to you. You interrupt their learning. You absorb their burdens. You lose your center trying to hold together what someone else has not yet chosen to heal. This is why you often end up exhausted while they remain unchanged. Healing is not something you can perform for someone. It is something they must choose, face, and commit to themselves. You can inspire, but you cannot transform for them. You can guide, but you cannot walk their path. You can support, but you cannot substitute their responsibility. Releasing the urge to fix people is not coldness, it is wisdom. It is understanding the difference between helping and saving, between being compassionate and being drained. Many people confuse love with sacrifice. They believe love means carrying someone on your back, absorbing their pain, or losing yourself just to keep them afloat. But true love, healthy love, does not demand the destruction of your own spirit. You are allowed to step back from those who refuse to step forward. You are allowed to detach from those who repeat the same patterns without willingness to change. You are allowed to protect your own peace even when others choose chaos. The most powerful support you can offer another human being is your presence, not your repair. Your clarity, not your control. Your guidance, not your guilt. Your example, not your exhaustion. Often people grow not because someone fixed them, but because someone stopped rescuing them. Your distance awakens their responsibility. Your boundaries awaken their self-awareness. Your silence awakens their reflection. And if they choose not to change, that too is their path, not your failure. Letting go of the desire to fix others frees you. It frees you from emotional overextension. It frees you from living as a healer to those who do not want healing. It frees you from tying your worth to someone else's progress. You are here to evolve, to expand, to cultivate inner mastery, not to become the emotional crutch for every struggling soul you meet. When you allow people to face their own lessons, you honor their journey. When you allow yourself to stop carrying what is not yours, you honor your own. This is not abandonment, it is alignment. It is the moment you choose growth over guilt, wisdom over rescue, clarity over burden. And in this freedom, your heart becomes lighter. Your path becomes clearer. Your inner peace becomes unshakable. Number 9. Surround yourself with people who calm your nervous system. There is a quiet truth that many people only realize after years of inner struggle. You do not rise in life by surrounding yourself with people who excite your chaos. You rise by walking with those who soothe your inner storms. Your nervous system is the most ancient part of your being. It remembers what your mind tries to forget. It senses danger before danger speaks. It feels harmony before harmony reveals itself. It knows who brings peace and it knows who disturbs it long before your intellect catches up. When you sit with someone and your chest feels heavy, your breath becomes shallow, your shoulders tighten, or your heart begins to defend itself without a clear reason. That is not overthinking. That is your internal intelligence whispering, "This energy is unsafe." We often ignore these signs because we have been conditioned to be polite, to endure, to carry relationships that exhaust us simply because we fear being judged for letting them go. But life becomes lighter the moment you begin trusting your inner signals more than the surface of someone's behavior. Peace is not found by searching for perfect people. It is found by recognizing which people awaken the best version of you. There are individuals whose presence slows down your thoughts, deepens your breathing, and brings you back into your body. They don't need to say many words. Their presence alone is like stepping into a warm room after walking through winter winds. Your nervous system relaxes because it recognizes safety, sincerity, and alignment. These are the people who do not rush you, pressure you, or confuse you. They speak from a grounded place and their energy is consistent, not unpredictable. They do not enter your life to take, to drain, or to demand. Their presence is like a river, calm, steady, refreshing, and when you sit with them, you feel something rare. You can be yourself without shrinking, without defending, without pretending. Surrounding yourself with people who calm your nervous system is not about escaping challenges or discomfort. It is about choosing environments that support your growth instead of constantly interrupting it. When your nervous system feels safe, your mind becomes clearer, your creativity awakens, your intuition strengthens, and your ability to make wise decisions becomes natural. Peace is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of the right people. If you want to truly protect your inner peace from toxic influences, learn to honor this simple rule. Who you spend time with becomes the atmosphere you breathe. Spend time with anxious people and anxiety becomes normal. Spend time with negative people and negativity becomes familiar. Spend time with chaotic people and chaos becomes a habit. But spend time with peaceful souls and you will start to remember your own stillness. Life does not require millions of connections, only a few authentic ones. Choose people who steady your heartbeat, not those who shake it. Choose those who bring you home to yourself, not those who pull you away from who you are becoming. In their presence, your nervous system will finally whisper, "This is right, stay here." Number 10. Choose your peace over being liked. There comes a moment in every person's life when they stand at a crossroads. One path leads to pleasing others, the other leads to protecting themselves. This moment often appears quietly during a conversation where your heart tightens, in a relationship where your energy feels drained, or in a situation where your truth wants to speak but fear silences it. And in that split second, whether you realize it or not, you are choosing your peace or being liked. From childhood, many are taught to gain approval, to avoid conflict, to make others comfortable even when it costs them their own comfort. But as you walk deeper into self-awareness, you begin to understand that constantly seeking to be liked is a subtle form of self-abandonment. When your actions are shaped by the desire for validation, you hand your inner peace into the palms of other people's opinions. And peace, once given away, is very hard to reclaim. Choosing your peace over being liked is not an act of rebellion, it is an act of maturity. It means you honor your emotional well-being more than someone else's temporary satisfaction. It means you understand that your nervous system, your heart, your inner balance are not negotiable tools to be traded for approval. It means you finally realize that not everyone is meant to understand you, accept you, or admire you, and that this truth is not a loss but a liberation. When you choose peace, something powerful happens. You stop shrinking your voice to fit into places that do not respect you. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop chasing connections that require you to betray who you are. Peace becomes your filter, your boundary, your compass. People may say you have changed, they may say you have become distant, they may accuse you of being cold, selfish, or unkind. But remember, those who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always protest when you finally build them. Let them speak. The noise of others is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to protect the quiet inside you, the place where clarity lives. When you choose peace, you become grounded. You begin to attract people who respect your silence instead of demanding explanations. People who value your truth rather than expecting you to hide it. People who appreciate your presence without trying to control it. Peace does not distance you from love. It brings you closer to authentic love, the kind that does not require masks or restrictions. Choosing peace also means accepting that you will disappoint some people simply by being yourself. But peace reminds you that disappointment is temporary, while the loss of self is permanent. And nothing, no approval, no compliment, no temporary affection is worth the price of losing yourself. There is a deeper wisdom here. The people who truly matter do not need you to sacrifice your peace to be worthy of their care. They value you as you are, not as a version you bend into for acceptance. So let this be your quiet courage. Choose the path that brings stillness to your soul, even if it leads you away from applause. Walk as if peace is your most sacred companion, because it is. As we reach the close of this journey, remember this truth. Your inner peace is sacred.